Welcome to the Wonderful World of Knitting podcast. Welcome to episode 2 of the Wonderful World of Knitting podcast. My name is Kathleen. I'm coming to you from the United Kingdom, London, and this is episode 2. So once again, still the nerves are there. They will probably be there forever, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, welcome any returning viewers. Welcome back, and any new viewers. Welcome. So this is a knitting podcast, all about my knitting and everything what I'm up to. So today is Thursday. We are in the Easter holiday now. It is really lovely, sunny outside. I'm getting hot already. I'm sitting in the sun now. Right here by my side is the garden. Sun is shining in, as you can see. So it's really lovely. And I'm wearing a woolly sweater, so I am already sweating. Plus I have actually a hot coffee next to me. So I think I'm only going to last in this sweater in the sun for the next 5 minutes, and then or 10 minutes, and then I will have to change. So yeah, my little one is at nursery, my eldest is watching TV, so I thought, and I'm off work today as well, because I work for a university and they are closed for a whole week over Easter, so that's really nice. So I'm off work, and I thought, let me record episode 2, because I'm so excited. This is all really so exciting, and I really appreciate anybody who viewed the first episode, and it seemed that people enjoyed it. I got a couple of comments, so that's great, so thank you very much. So yeah, here we are. So that's it for the introduction of episode 2. Shall we start with what I am wearing? Whew, so you can see, oh gosh, I'm sweating. Grab yourself a coffee, a tea, whatever, some water. Get yourself comfortable. So let's start with what I'm wearing. I am wearing, so this is sweater number 2 that I made. So I figure, obviously last time was episode 1, and I wore the first ever sweater that I knitted. So I figure episode 2, I should be wearing the second sweater that I knitted. So let me stand up and show you. Can I move back? Yes, I can move back. So this is quite an oversized woolly sweater. So let me just move back a bit more. So I made quite a large neckline here, in a different pattern. I think I did. Is this garter stitch? Yeah, I think it's garter stitch. And so it's quite baggy. You can see, and then I did decreases along the sleeve, and I did garter stitch here as well, for the wrist. And it's a short sweater. You can see it's quite short. Again, it's almost 3/4 lengths, so that way it's not in the way when I work and do things. So, oh gosh, I'm sweating. Whew. I have to take this off. But anyway, so this is my second sweater. And let me show you what the pattern that I used. Again, actually, I never really wore this sweater. And I don't actually, I can't see right now why I'm not wearing it. I should be wearing it in the winter. It is Arranmore yarn. And it's wool, and it's a wool and alpaca blend. It is really, really lovely warm. But I think what I don't like, probably the reason why I don't wear it, is because it is so baggy. And well, I suppose as an oversized garment, something to throw on top of something else if you're really cold, then yeah, that would work. So what I did with this sweater, it wasn't a class that I paid for. It's a free class that was available on YouTube. This must be now 9 years ago, maybe. So it's quite an old video. You can, maybe if it is still available on YouTube, you can find it under Knit Picks Knit Picks Nina's Sweater class, and it's divided into separate sections as well, divided into separate lessons, so to speak. I think it goes up to lesson, we've got lesson 4 here, it goes up to lesson 7, which is then the finishing of it, and this is the introduction of it. So it's basically a lot of paper, a lot, different lessons, starting with the introduction, how to choose your yarn, how to choose the style of sweater you want to make. So it is really thorough. It walks you through everything. You can watch the tutorial on the video, the lessons, you can watch it on YouTube. If it is still available. I will have a look and let you know in the comments, in the show notes below. So it's called Nina's Sweater class. And as I said, it really is talking about shaping, how to pick your yarn, the different qualities of different yarn, how to choose your yarn, what style of sweater to knit. And then also it starts, so that was the introduction. And then if I go to lesson 1, talks about swatching and taking measurements. So it tells you even how to measure your body, how to swatch, because obviously you need the swatch to determine how many stitches to cast on. And here's the schematic. Let me show you the schematic. So here are my numbers. So I did all the measurements. So yeah, it was quite a project at the time. I was still new to knitting. As I said, it's my second sweater. So, but yeah, it went well, considering that in the end I ended up with a sweater that I can wear, that is really warm, and the yarn is lovely as well. I will show you the yarn in a minute. Lesson 2 then talks about casting on and working the hem. So the construction of this sweater, it's a bottom-up construction. So you start at the hem. If I remember correctly, I think it is knitted in the round. Yes, it is. So you knit up from the bottom, and then it's quite. I've never done this. I never did this kind of construction before. It's quite kind of unusual, because what you do is, once you knit up to the armholes, you then, I think, knit the sleeves separately, and then you have live stitches of the sleeves, of both sleeves. You have live stitches of the body, and then you join all the stitches together on one long circular needle. Because it's so long ago, I can't quite remember how I exactly did that, but I do remember that you from the bottom up, you then add the sleeve, the body, and the stitches together. So that means you then knit the yoke. So these must be some decreases here then, knitting up, decreasing on the arms. You knit it all in one. And then I just knitted the neckband. So yeah, that was sweater 2 that I made. And let me show you the yarn. I actually have one ball of yarn left. So this is quite a squashed ball, you can see. Because obviously it is many years old now. But I had yarn left over. And it's a really lovely... I think it's probably, I would say, it is a non-superwash. Yes, it is non-superwash by the looks of it. This yarn is called Rowan Creative Focus Worsted. Rowan Creative Focus Worsted, and it is 75% wool and 25% alpaca. Rowan is a little pricey, but you do get what you pay for. It's a lovely yarn. It's air weight, and it's nice. It's so hairy as well. I love that I don't know if you can see that, but it's quite hairy. It's nice, and it is warm. So you should not be wearing wool sweaters on a warm day. We are now in April. It's Easter, and I'm looking forward to the summer. But yeah, as I said, I wanted to show you the sweater, so now it is out of the way. So that is what I'm wearing today. I'm just going to take another sip of my coffee. Yes. So that was that. I will put all the links in the show notes, so if you want, you can have a look and see what you can make of that as well. So then now, the next thing I want to show you, as I was just talking of this yarn, this Rowan yarn, I actually also made a pair of socks with this yarn. So these socks are also probably about 8 years old or so. I made them. These are my first pair of socks ever, first pair of socks. And I used once again a very pink knits tutorial. So that was my very first pair of socks, and this is a simple tutorial that is aimed at beginners, so for beginners really. If you've never knitted socks before and you want to give it a try, I would recommend that pattern. So this sock is knitted from the cuff down all the way, and then I think I used the Kitchener stitch. So now, actually last weekend I was clearing out my chest of drawers because the drawers broke. So we built a new chest of drawers and everything, so I went through all the clothes and I found these socks, and actually one sock was missing. So, so funny, you know how the second sock is always missing. I found it, and look at this. Oh my God, you can imagine my disappointment, the sadness when I found that big hole in the sock. I don't know how the hole got there. I don't know how it happened that this hole, you can literally see how it is unraveling. I don't know how. Most likely moths. You know, the larvae of the moth, they like to eat wool. So this is so annoying because I have mothballs, I have lavender and everything. So found this hole and I'm debating what to do. I actually threw it in the bin already, this sock. But then I thought, oh, actually I could show it on the podcast. If anybody has any ideas how to fix that, let me know. Of course, what I can do is as well, because I still have the very same yarn left, I could knit the socks again, couldn't I? Maybe with a different pattern this time. Or I could just forget about it. But anyway, it's very annoying because what I did as well is, you know, through wear and tear, you can get holes on the small. You can get this. The yarn is like is really thinning and is wearing down, because obviously when you wear socks by the heel, you get this wear and tear. You get holes anyway naturally. So a few years ago I even fixed the sock and mended it here. I'm not sure if you can see that. So it would be a shame. So I might knit them again, we shall see what happens. So yeah, so now this is what I am wearing, and I'd like to show you now my works in progress. I talked to you last time about my youngest, that I'd like to knit a sweater for my youngest, having already knitted a sweater for my eldest. So, and I was debating last time whether I should knit the Flax Sweater for her or the Magnolia Mini, and I decided on the Flax Sweater because I didn't want to knit lace again, and the Magnolia Mini has a lace pattern on the hem, so I just wanted a plain stockinette stitch sweater. And so this is what I have so far. The body is almost done. So you can see here, this is a raglan construction. I'm sure you all know raglan construction. Most of the time you start from the top, so you cast on the neckline, and I will talk to you about sizing in a minute, because I did something different here with the sizing with the neckline to make sure it will fit her. But so anyway, so you start the raglan, you knit from the top down, you split for the sleeves, you knit the raglan increases, you split for the sleeves, and you put the sleeve stitches on scrap yarn. That's what I do. You put it on scrap yarn and then you just knit down. And this is what I've got so far. Let me just quickly straighten it out for you so you can see. So there we go. It's quite a... So let me just go back and just finish my train of thought here. So I will finish knitting the body. I will finish the hem with just some simple 2x2 whip. And then I will go back and knit the sleeves. I have not decided yet whether I will knit the sleeves individually on just one small circumference needle, because that goes really nicely. Or I can also once again knit them 2 at a time. I mentioned that in episode 1 that it's great when you knit 2 at a time. You don't have to keep track of your rounds, and it's faster that way. But you do have to swap and turn around and pay attention to the 2 balls of yarn. But I haven't decided yet how I'm going to knit the sleeves. So let me talk to you about the sizing here, because obviously we're going into the warmer months now, and I'm knitting a thick woolly sweater for my daughter. Being a 4-year-old, they grow very quickly, kids, right? We as grown-ups, we don't grow as fast anyway, and we don't grow anymore unless you eat a lot or, you know, whatever. You grow width-wise. But anyway, I think I have to change this sweater. Whew, because I'm getting really hot. Anyway, so sizing. So because obviously we're going into the warmer month, I need to make this sweater bigger so that in the next winter it will still fit her, because obviously she will grow. So I chose the size 4 to 6 years old. She is 4 now. But what I did, because I always sometimes struggle with the neckline to make sure that it actually fits over the head. So I did a very, very stretchy cast on. I think I did a German twisted cast on. I find that one quite stretchy. I do have to get out of this sweater. And so I actually used, I went one size up in the needles to make this much bigger. Normally when you do wibbing, you actually go down in the needle size. This time I went up in the needle size. And then I just knitted. And if I just may show you a close-up of it, I'm not sure if you can see the colors, but it's actually a mold effect, because I decided in the end to use this wool. Let me show you. So it's 2 different colors I'm using at the same time, holding it double. So I'm using this color here, which is like a cream color. Let me show you another ball band of this. Oh, this is a beautiful yarn, by the way. It is so soft. Let me show you a proper ball of yarn there. So this is yarn 1. It's Drops Puna. And if I'm not mistaken, it is, excuse me, it is 100% alpaca. It's a DK weight yarn. And I can even link below where I bought this, because it's inexpensive. It doesn't cost much. So I'm using this, and then I'm holding it double with this pink, because my daughter said she wanted a pink sweater. So I'm holding it double, and it gives this beautiful, oh, stitches escaping. No, it is making this beautiful mold sweater. And as I was trying it on her the other day, she said, oh, I don't want it anymore. So that's kids for you. So I said, oh yeah, should we make it for your sister then? And she said, yeah. So I don't know why she said she doesn't want it anymore, but that's kids for you, as I said. So anyway, so I'm knitting this at the moment for her, and I'm using this pattern, the Flax Sweater. So they show an adult model here, but it actually has, it starts I think from baby size all the way up to adult size, to probably, is it up to triple, or let me check the sizing for you. It actually goes up to 6XL. So yes, it goes from 0 to 6 months to 6XL, this pattern. So it would be for anybody, really. It's great. So obviously I'm making it for my 4-year-old. So let me put this here. So yeah, so I showed you the yarn. I told you about the sizing. I'm really enjoying it because I was working on a complicated lace cardigan. I really enjoyed having this project next to it when you still want to knit, but you want to watch a movie, right? You want to knit and watch a movie, or just knit mindlessly, and you don't want to work on a difficult pattern. So you always have to have a backup, a second project on the go where you can just knit and don't have to think. And I'm just going to pause this now and get changed, because I am rather hot. Bear with me. Yes, I'm back now. I had to change. So yes, I wanted to say one more thing regards the flax sweater, the sweater I'm knitting for my 4-year-old. I didn't actually knit a swatch this time, because I tend to not knit swatches I think in two cases really. So case one is when I'm actually knitting something for my daughters, because I just figure if I knit it a bit bigger, it will still fit them, but it will take a few months until it will fit them. So yeah, I know you have to knit a swatch to figure out, you know, how many stitches you have and whether the garment will fit in the end. But it's, oh gosh, I mean, I love knitting, but I'm sure I'm not the only one. You just want to cast on so badly. You don't want to sit there, knit a swatch, block it, count the stitches. So that's case one when I do not knit a swatch when I knit for my children, because then sizing isn't so important, as I said. So that's, yeah. The second case is when you knit accessories, like something that doesn't have to fit tightly, like a scarf or a shawl. You don't have to knit a swatch for that. When you knit a hat, I think it's also quite important that you knit a swatch, because my first hat that I knitted, it was more like a bucket and not a hat that actually stays on your head. So you have to make sure. Plus with socks as well, because when you have loose socks that keep sliding off, that's very annoying. So you want to knit. I tend to knit swatches for those. So yeah, so that was that. Now my second work in progress I want to show you. So that already made an appearance in the first episode, but I did make progress. So I want to show you. So for you returning viewers, this is the Rico lace cardigan I'm knitting. I showed it before, let me just show it once again. It is this cardigan that I'm making, Rico 868. I will again add the pattern in the show notes in case anybody is interested. Let me show you my progress. And I just cannot wait to finish this. I think it will be really beautiful in the end, but I could have finished this project actually weeks ago already. But I want to make sure it's right. Because when you spend so much time knitting something so intricate with lace, it does take a lot of concentration and time. And why would you spend that time and then you don't wear it in the end because something you don't like about it? So I had to actually frock something, but I will tell you later what I had to do. So anyway, my point is, I think the finishing work is just so important to make sure that you like it and you use it really. So let me show you first what I've got so far. This is beautiful. So this is knit in pieces, as I explained in the first episode. You knit all the pieces separately, the back, the two fronts and the sleeves. You then seam it all together. So far what I've done is I seamed the back and the fronts together. The sides are still open, and I knitted the button band. I can actually try and put it on and show you. This feels kind of funny because the sides are still open. Let me make sure that it sits right. I think it's going to be beautiful. Yeah, I hope so anyway. So this is the button band. Is this sitting right? Yes, this is the button band. I added four buttonholes. There is the buttonhole. I'm poking my finger through. I knitted 4 buttonholes. The pattern only actually has 1 buttonhole in it. I think you can see it in the photo. But I want to be able to fully close the cardigan. So I knitted 4 buttonholes. I think it's going to be a beautiful kind of V-neck cardigan. I think it's so beautiful. And I've got these 4 buttons here then that I will add. As I said, the button band is knitted already with the buttonholes. So the last thing to do, and this is what's actually been giving me a headache, and this is what's costing me more time now, is the sleeves. Let me show you the sleeves. Because I had finished the sleeves, bound off, and I even blocked the sleeves. However, I made a mistake that I bound off too tightly. I used the standard bind off, and with the standard bind off, it's quite tight. So I should have either used a really stretchy bind off, there's one bind off that is extremely stretchy. You can just stretch like that. Or you can also use a bigger size needle to do the bind off. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So the bind off I did was too tight, which means that I can't actually, so that the sleeve is too small and too tight to be able to seam it correctly into the cardigan. Let me show you here. This is one sleeve finished. Yes, so this is one sleeve finished, and this here is the tight. This is the tight bind off. It is too tight. Let me show you. If I was to use this and seam this to the cardigan, I'd like to show you this because it basically is not as big as the cardigan is. So what I will have to do, I will have to fold this in half, obviously, because this is going to be the sleeve. And then this here is the shoulder. It would go like so. You seam it together. However, I'm not sure if I can show you, but I'm trying my best. Bear with me. Here is the armhole, and the sleeve would not line up with the armhole. Look at this. Look at this. So this is the shoulder I'm holding together. This here is where the sleeve comes to. Hang on. Oh gosh, this is really hard to show. I'm sorry. But anyway, the armhole, the length, the height is much longer than the sleeve. So I will. So I whipped one sleeve back already. I did that last night. Even though I already blocked it, I undid the bind off. When the kids were in bed, I had to make sure that nobody disturbs me when I do that, because it's quite tricky. You don't want to you don't want to lose any stitches, especially when you have yarn overs, right? When you undo. So this is the sleeve where I carefully undid the bind off, and I whipped back, and then I just picked up the stitches that were live, and I did it. I can't believe that it worked. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is, now that I have the opportunity to knit the sleeve again, I'm actually going to knit it longer than the pattern calls for, so that the sleeve will sit here. And then when I do the bind off, it's like a gradual bind off like this. When I do the bind off, I will do either a stretchy bind off or use a much bigger needle. I would love to show you how it just doesn't line up with the cardigan. Let me see if I can still do it. So this here is the width of the armhole. And oh, I think now I can show it. And this is the sleeve. And it only comes... Wait, there we go. Look at this. This here, where my fingers are, this is the armhole, and this here is the sleeve. So it's nowhere near as big as the cardigan. So I will knit it bigger, and then hopefully it will work. So I have to finish the sleeves. I then have to seam this. I think it's called set-in sleeves. So you have to make sure. Once again, I will probably watch another nice YouTube tutorial to really do a professional job how to do the set-in sleeves, because you can imagine if you stretch it out too much, then there is more fabric left on the other side of the sleeve. Then you can find that it's like puckered together on one spot. So you want to make sure that you divide it into sections. That's what I will do with some stitch markers. I will divide it into sections. So just some stitch markers, put the sides together to make sure they all sit nicely and it looks good. So I have to do the set-in sleeves once I finish the sleeves, and then I have to seam the sides together. Then I have to add buttons. I don't know yet what buttons to add. I was even thinking to go crazy and go for some pink buttons, but I think no, let's not do that. So I think I might actually get some wooden buttons or just grey buttons that go with that kind of color. We shall see. So yeah, I want to spend the time, make sure that it's right. So this is a mess. Look at this. And also I want to just talk to you about the yarn as well. So let me first of all show you the yarn band. So this is called the Fibre company, and this yarn is called Arranmore Light. Donegal Heritage. So it is a 3D yarn, a 3D blend of fine merino wool, cashmere and silk. And I have to, so let me just tell you, so this is 80% wool, 10% silk and 10% cashmere. And I have to tell you, this is the lightest yarn I've ever worked with. When I first wound it up into a ball, for the very first time, it came in a hank. I wound it up, I carried the yarn to the table, and I was like, I'm not even holding any yarn. It was so light. Honestly, it's the lightest yarn I've ever held. I don't understand why. You get a lot of meterage as well. So for 100 gram, even though this is DK weight, for 100 gram you get 300 meters. So for any of you out there who know a bit about meterage and weight and how both these correlate with each other, this is actually, you get a lot of yarn basically for the weight you're buying, and that's because it's so light. If you get a really heavy yarn, because some fibers are heavier, some other fibers are lighter, right? So let me get this straight in my head. If you get a heavier yarn where the fibers are heavy, so for the same weight, 100 gram, let's say, you get less meterage. So basically less to knit with, less to make a garment with. So with this I bought 3 hanks. So 100 gram is 300 meters. And for a DK weight yarn, that is a lot. And that's because it's so light. So I bought 3, and I think I'm only actually using 2. Because I have a whole one still left. I have this much left. This is almost a whole cake, a whole hank. So yeah, I'm getting a lot for them. And where was I now? I've lost my train of thought. So yeah, because I only have to knit the sleeves and then I'm done, more or less. So I can't wait for that. So yeah, I talked to you about the pattern, the yarn, modifications. I'm knitting it longer because it is quite short, and I'm also a short woman. So for any tall person, this cardigan would definitely be too short, way too short. So I already had to add length to it. As I said, I'm going to make the sleeves longer as well. And I did the button band wider so that I can actually close it. So that's that. So now lastly, I want to talk to you about my future works in progress, what I'm planning next. I like to show you. So there are 2 things in the pipeline. I showed this in the first episode already, this yarn, but I've actually chosen a pattern now. So this is Rowan felted tweed. Can you see? Oh, look, the sun is catching it. Oh, beautiful. So yeah, so I've chosen a pattern. I'm going to knit the puff tee. I cannot quite remember now who the designer is, but I will all link it in the show notes. It's a beautiful top-down, more like a t-shirt style with some puff sleeves. So it's called a puff tee, and you will see. I will add a photo here as well for you to see. So yeah, I'm knitting that. Hopefully I have enough yarn. I've got, I think, 5 balls of these, and this is 50 gram. I hope it will be enough. If not, I can always order more online. So that's that. That's the first future work in progress. Hopefully I can cast that on soon as the lace cardigan is finished. And then my second plan, what I'd like to make, is this one. Twin flower socks by Twin Set and Pearl. So this is actually a kit that I bought 2 days ago that I ordered. So you get the pattern and the yarn all together. And I bought this on, I think they're called Botanical Yarns. And I had to buy this because I really fell in love with this sock and with this color. Look at this. It's a sock with a lace pattern. And look at this, look at the specks in it, in the yarn. Look at this beautiful yarn. So I haven't actually received the yarn yet. Hopefully it will come in the post very soon. So I'm going to knit these socks. These socks, I believe, are cuff down. So even though I prefer toe up, I'm actually excited about knitting cuff down again. See if I like it. So we will see. So that's there. So I actually put myself on a ban. I banned myself from buying any more yarn, because last year in 2021 I kind of went a bit crazy and I ordered so much yarn. Oh gosh, I know I'm not the only one. But there's really two problems. First problem is the cost, of course. It does cost quite a bit of money, and you know, I mean, I work full time, but I also have 2 children, so you know, I can't spend so much money on yarn. But then a problem that's actually worse than the first one, the cost problem, is storage. Where are you going to store all that yarn? I mean, we certainly don't have the space. I don't have a knitting room. I wish I had, but so yeah, I'm limited regards storage space. So I put myself on a ban, and I said for the entire year I'm just knitting from stash, and I can totally do that because the yarn I bought will last me for 2 years. So I'm not buying any more yarn. I've been really good for the last maybe 2 or 3 months or so. Last time I think I bought yarn was in January, February. However, I did go ahead and I bought this one. So I kind of cheated. Yeah, I cheated myself. and I bought, but it's only one skein anyway. So, and also I thought it was a good deal for the price because you get the pattern and the yarn. And I couldn't help myself. So yes, that is it. So I think we're going to end it here. I'm going to finish that lace cardigan, and I'm hoping in the next episode that I'll be able to show you the cardigan as a finished object. Let's hope so. Fingers crossed, right? So yeah, that's it for episode 2. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you all enjoyed the Easter holidays. Spend lots of time with family. Do a lot of knitting. Do what makes you happy. Enjoy the sun. I mean, it's just gorgeous outside right now. I think we're going to go for a bike ride later. And yeah, enjoy the Easter holidays and happy knitting. And I hope you come back, and if you like the video, give me the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. That would be great. I hope you enjoyed it. One more thing as well about Instagram and Ravelry. You can actually find me on Instagram on wonderful.world.knitting, and Ravelry it is wonderworldknits. So yeah, I still have to upload a few projects onto Ravelry, but I did all that recently. I uploaded quite a few of my projects there, so you can have a look and see. I will link everything in the show notes. Any questions, let me know, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!